welcome to the MANNSCHRECKS podcast. After a brief break from our fans, we have decided to make a return into the wide world of podcasting.
You know what it is? It's sitting on the front porch. Like, I just love, we have rocking chairs, and it's been beautiful lately, and I just want to sit on the front porch and talk to you. And it was like, this is so fun. Can we do the podcast out here?
It was too loud, and it's too windy today, so.
But the overarching idea was there, and it was so good. And so we were like, you know what? Well, and the it's too noisy. You can't really, you know.
There's
like
too much. We live in a busy street, so there's a lot of traffic.
And so it was like, we probably won't be able to do that, so why don't we bring it inside? But here we are, recording after, I think it's been the last episode.
Wasn't it like October?
It was right after the election.
Oh, okay, so it's been a minute.
The last episode is called the one where we talk about anything except that. Because we didn't want to talk about the election because that was like the only thing plastered across our news
feeds. Things got crazy. I mean, it's really been crazy. We have 5 kids, so there's really no excuses.
Well, it's not about excuses. It was just sort of
this is an extra thing that we needed a break from.
But we like doing it, and so we wanted to bring it back, and so here we are. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be similar format, you know, just kind of our classic tell goofy stories and sponsors of our life. And then we figured we'd oscillate between a game one week and then like a topic on the other week, because that's what we've kind of bounced back and forth on, is like, what do we feel like, you know? And sometimes we just want to be goofy, and sometimes we really wanted to dive into some deeper topics. And so I'm excited to be back. So we'll see how the audio quality sounds. It's very hard to tell. Our setup is a little different, so we'll find out. But here we are. Do you want to approach the news desk?
I would love to approach the news desk.
What do you got?
All right, so my first story is very strange, but I feel like this actually happens weirdly often in my search for weird news stories. So this happened in Prague, actually. So a Czech family of 3 is accused of running a fake dental clinic.
What? In Prague?
Mm-hmm. And it says Czech police say they have detained 3 suspects who allegedly treated patients in a fake dental clinic without proper license or professional training.
That's terrifying. Ugh.
Yep. So the police said on Wednesday, so this happened a couple weeks ago. No, it happened last week. Police said on Wednesday that dozens of people visited the clinic in their hometown of Havlíčkův Brod, some 100 kilometers or 60 miles southeast of Prague. And it happened 2 years ago. They made 4 million Czech koruna, or $185,000.
Okay, but still, that's kind of a lot of money.
Before they were detained earlier this month.
What did they do to people? Oh my gosh.
It says they have pleaded guilty to charges including running an illegal business, attempted bodily harm. I assume it's because they were performing some sort of, removal of teeth.
They pulled my tooth out.
Stealing and illegal production and handling of narcotics, psychotropic substances, and poison. Okay.
Yeah, okay. That laughing gas is no joke.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
They face up to 8 years in prison.
Oh
so listen to this. It says, police say the 22-year-old son consulted the internet to do procedures.
Yes, of course.
Classic.
Let me just watch this YouTube video.
Exactly. Including extractions, while his 50-year-old mother, a nurse by profession, so she does have experience in healthcare, but not dental care.
Oh my God.
She worked as his assistant and provided materials. The 44-year-old father made prosthetic devices. So they got a 3D printer that they're printing out fake teeth with or something.
Wow.
And they were doing dental procedures.
Extraction, it said.
It says the clinic was reported by another dentist who was approached by a patient suffering from complications after a treatment.
Yeah. Wow.
Can you imagine?
I see my mother's horrified expression on her face. For those who don't know, who are listening, who are not family members, my mom's a dentist for a long time. But that's incredible. You kind of...
I remember reading a story, it was probably about 3 years ago now. I think it was when we were doing the podcast before, and I read a story about a guy, he was like I think he was in the Detroit area, who was running a dental practice out of his basement, and he had acquired old stuff from equipment.
Sure,
he had a chair, and he had all the tools and everything in his basement, and he was performing dental work for cheap or free. And I was kind of like, that's kind of sketchy, but I guess if you were like helping people out, but you actually have to have a professional license to actually be a dentist, and you have to have training. This man did not.
But
and it's just so sketchy.
A hypothetical by you now, because I'm thinking about so there are people who tinker in their free time, right? Like there are some people who work on cars, right? Like around Thanksgiving time, our car. I can't remember what the part was. A spark plug or something? We needed to redo.
Oh, yeah.
And my brother-in-law, Tom, came over and helped us out. And shout out, Tom. I doubt he's listening, but if he is, it was...
He has better things to do than listen to our podcast.
No, but it was so helpful, and he came over and helped me pull the engine apart. And I mean, it was really we had to lift up all the pieces. And I mean, the part we needed to replace was way at the bottom. I went down to AutoZone, picked up the part I needed. And it's how different is that from setting up a practice in your basement, right? If you're
I mean, the car doesn't work and the car dies, but the person gets an infection and they die. That's very different.
It's true.
It's a human life.
Are there laws around
I'm sure there's some sort of liability.
If I and I guess I'm kind of poking at this hypothetical. Where are the limits, right? Because on the one hand, you can just be this is horrifying. But on the other hand, it's well, okay, but my kid gets a cut, right? And I put a Band-Aid on. That I'm allowed to do. What if my kid needs stitches? Can I do stitches?
I mean, think of how many people in lieu of getting stitches just super glue something.
Right. Yeah.
It's I don't.
Can you get in trouble for doing that?
I mean, I don't.
I'm not a licensed professional.
No, you're not a licensed professional, but I think that's one of those situations where it's you would use common sense, but also what is the neighbor going to be I saw that your kid got a cut and you need to take him to the ER. I'm calling Child Protective Services on you.
Yep.
That could definitely happen, but let's be real
my
here.
brother. I'm trying to think I'm an adult, right? And it's I've got a giant gash in my arm, but I don't want to go to the emergency room. Can you stitch this up?
Oh, totally.
Can you do that and not get in trouble? Or can you get in trouble? I don't know.
I think that's ridiculous. How many movies do they do that? Here, I'll just stitch you up real quick.
Can Tom Hanks sue himself for what he did in Castaway?
Performed a tooth extraction with a nice skate. Oh boy, I don't know. It's weird though, isn't that weird?
The fact that they got caught that way, that's exactly how I would have predicted it. Of course, they're going to do a bad job.
Oh yeah, complaints.
Of course, someone's going to have a complication. They're going to go to a real dentist.
The part that I love is it's just mom and dad and son, and they're hold on, just YouTube that. I got some patience tomorrow. I gotta brush up on my tooth extraction.
I'm sure they thought what they were doing was not even that bad because mom's a nurse. She's going to make sure there's nothing
healthcare professional
mortifying.
Dad's I got the tools. We can make this happen. Oh. And son's just hold on, guys. I'm going to YouTube some extractions.
I got pliers. And
I gotta go wash off my pliers.
Well, it's so funny because I think about I actually grew up with dental equipment in my basement because my mom owned her own practice. So anytime she bought new equipment, it's crazy expensive equipment. So she wouldn't throw it away. She would try to keep it, maybe sell it, do something with it. So I remember I never knew what any of it was, right? It's just big, heavy things with big arms and whatnot. That thing that has the light overhead or whatever. So we would have that in the basement, in the corner or whatever. And it's people can just buy that stuff, and I just never really thought about it because my mom's a licensed professional. She actually has all those degrees.
Yeah.
But it's not they're checking to see if you have it.
She could have been doing some stuff down in the basement
just
for the neighbors. It sounds so sketchy.
Such a great way to get sued.
Oh my gosh.
And they're going, what are you in for? Can you imagine?
Illegal dental work.
I was helping some people. Oh, great, man. I got this molar. Can you check it out?
Can you just pull that thing right out?
Work.
Prison dental work. Hold on, let me YouTube that.
That's an amazing story. I miss this. We have not done this in so long. And
so weird.
So good.
But what's your story?
My first story comes from AP News. Not so hot pursuit of burglary suspect sees police cars chase a tractor excavator at a walking pace.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see this story?
No.
Charleston, North Carolina. North Charleston, South Carolina. Police in South Carolina engaged in a not-so-hot pursuit as they chased a tractor excavator down a main highway for more than an hour.
Why?
At a speed an average adult walks.
Just thinking about the logic here, and I'm not seeing it.
The chase reached speeds of 3 miles per hour.
Why wouldn't you just get out of the police car and walk up to the door and be like, I'm going to take this from you?
It's going to take a light jog.
I was going to say, if you got to follow at a driving pace.
Oh my gosh. Officers on a different call saw a big piece of construction equipment with treads and a shovel in front go across U.S. Highway 78 around 3:30 a.m. A minute later, they got a burglary call from a business that was heavily damaged and saw the excavator slowly heading away.
Oh my gosh, I'm just imagining. Boom. Knocks the building down, goes in.
Scoops up the safe or whatever.
Whatever. This is weird.
Several cars immediately joined in the very slow speed pursuit. The excavator.
Kids come outside. What are you watching? I don't know. I think it's a parade. Grab your popcorn.
The excavator was going so slow that the cruisers would have to briefly stop several times in a minute so as to not pass the
Why didn't they just create a blockade?
I don't understand.
Why wouldn't you just... This is so bizarre.
My assumption is like the excavator could damage their cars. So they're not... You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
But a little bit, it's like... Play chicken with it a little. Like... they had their blue lights and sirens on and told the excavator driver over the loudspeakers that he was under arrest, needed to stop. Other cruisers eventually did block traffic. It went on for an hour and 12 minutes before it drove onto a county fairgrounds property where it got stuck.
Oh, of course.
So the excavator gets stuck. The driver then tried to run, but was followed by a drone until a police dog and handler caught up to them. And it's like, what is happening?
Where are we? That's weird.
So 53-year-old driver of the excavator was charged with a failure to stop for a blue light and 2 counts of malicious injury to real property. He's in jail on $22,000 in bond.
Wow.
Just wild.
That is so bizarre.
It's just, it's baffling. Number one, it's like, I can understand if you're worried that the excavator is going to damage your car.
Yeah,
right?
I could see that.
It's like a
giant
tank,
piece of
right?
machinery.
They're huge,
Yeah.
and it's like he's going to plow into us. Even if we successfully stop him, it's thousands of dollars of damage to our cars, all this stuff.
Right.
But then you need to, get a drone?
I guess I just don't understand why you would continue following it so slowly.
I feel like, go for a little afternoon stroll and you'll keep up with him. It's fine. He's not getting away.
Is there no way for you to have jumped up? Like, I guess while it's moving, I don't know. You might be worried you get run over. Like,
I'm sure that they were told, because aren't they mostly told, like, don't do high-speed pursuits anymore? We don't have to. You can just
you can't
surveil.
do a high-speed pursuit after something that doesn't go high speed.
I just feel like, it's like, it's kind of like, have you ever heard that thing in grocery stores where they're not allowed to stop a thief?
Oh, yeah, my brother worked in loss management or whatever. It was like he worked for Meijer and he was not allowed to actually walk up to someone and prevent them from shoplifting.
No.
He would have to, let it go because otherwise he could get in trouble for like assaulting someone.
And so that's kind of the calculus that they make, right? Like the grocery store says, you know what? It's not worth lawsuits. The merchandise is not that valuable to us. We're willing to let it go, and we'll catch them other ways. I'm guessing that that's the same calculus because it's like, why on earth wouldn't you just hop up onto the back, like you said, right? It can't be that hard to wrestle this guy out of the seat, and then downshift to 0 miles an hour instead of 1 mile an hour, like, I don't know. And I guess there must have been some calculus where they were like, nope, don't even endanger your life. Because even if you're, you do a good job, but your foot gets run over, that's too costly for us.
It's just so bizarre.
Very bizarre. But can you imagine just watching the excavator roll across at 3:30 in the morning, and then suddenly there's a call over the radio like, hey, an excavator just burgled this place. Yep. That would be so entertaining.
That would be so weird.
Oh, I love it so much. All right, you got another story?
I do. It's kind of more of one of those ridiculous hearsay stories from like Reddit or something.
Oh, my favorite.
Okay, so it says a pregnant woman's nuclear-inspired baby name sparks a meltdown on social media.
Nuclear-inspired baby names. All right, bring it on.
Just one baby name. It says, please join us for a baby shower, and she posted the invite, and people said, I'm speechless. Because the invite said, join us to celebrate the upcoming arrival of a little bundle of joy in honor of Chernobyl Hope.
No, really? They named their child Chernobyl?
Apparently it's an up-and-coming child. It hasn't been born yet. It's a baby shower that they're having. So it's, and they give a backstory. In case you don't know what Chernobyl is, I think I do. But it says the mom-to-be's post garnered over 32,000 reactions from Redditors taking to the comment sections.
That'll do it.
Most people said, I actually cackled when I saw this, combined with hope. I refuse to believe this is real. This is my favorite comment. Are all friends invited, or is this just for the nuclear family? I just loved it so much.
That's so good.
Most people are saying, I don't want this to be real, but if it is, could you please come back and update us how the baby shower went?
Yes, I want to know. It's one of those showers where they have to scrub you down for radiation.
Oh my gosh. If someone else commented, what in the end of the world? I just think that's the most ridiculous thing ever. And then it gives a list of popular baby names over the past years. But there's no way someone actually names their kid that.
Chernobyl.
And if you do, you clearly don't understand the context of the situation. You just heard the word and thought, oh yeah, I think I'll name my kid that.
So nice. I'll be honest, it's one of those names that detached from context, it does sound nice. It's kind of like Cheryl, you know, it's a noble. It sounds like it doesn't sound bad, you know. It's just because of the story.
The context is like you can't use that.
Once you have like, yeah, there's no way around it. Like there's just nope. That's only gonna.
You've seen those jokey posts before. They were viral for like I think it was like 2 years ago or something. It was like baby names that would be cute if you didn't know the context.
Yes,
and this is an example of it.
I
it was like just so many different things where it's like, oh yeah, that would be cute, except it's awful. Like
but you can't do that.
Right, you can't do it. It's like, but think about how cute this nickname would be for it, but you can't use that as the name, and it's like, yeah, because that's awful.
Right, because context matters. You know,
it does.
The amount of kids named Adolf went way down after 1945, you know, and I think, you know, Babe Ruth, you know, Ruth name probably dropped off the charts, and just was the one joke from the TV show Friends was Minnie and Mouse, right? Still, you hear Minnie, you think Mouse, and it's like Minnie might be a perfectly wonderful name, but Chernobyl, the best joke I heard from all of that was the nuclear family thing.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite one.
It's so ridiculous.
All right, so my story, it's a little older. It's from
Okay.
May, and I may have already told you about it. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's almost like it's not a funny, goofy story, but it's so bizarre I had to tell you about it, okay? An Australian woman is on trial for murder by toxic mushrooms. Did you hear about this? No, you
didn't tell me about this.
No? Okay, so here's the story. A suburban Australian woman is standing trial on charges of poisoning several of her estranged husband's relative with death cap mushrooms in a home-cooked meal that killed 3 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a case that made headlines around the world. So her name is Erin Patterson, and she's in Australia. And she's 50 years old, and she's accused of purposefully poisoning her guests with her meal. And she made a meal, and all of them ate it. She didn't eat very much of it, or ate something different than them. So she got sick, or she says she got sick. The prosecutors say she's lying. But all 4 of her guests immediately got severely sick the next day. 3 of them died. 1 of them recovered. And what's bizarre is that she is separated from, but on good terms with her husband. So they are living separately. His name is
So why would you poison the family members?
So she invites his parents and his aunt and uncle over for an adults-only lunch, ostensibly to discuss medical issues she was facing. So she brought him over. I'm going to make you a nice meal and tell you about my cancer diagnosis.
Oh my gosh.
Turned out the cancer diagnosis was fake. She's not having cancer. So it's like, I need to tell you about this important emergency medical thing. Then the husband bowed out. He couldn't make it. And it's like, what? And so they still have this dinner with just personally, like
the ex-in-laws.
Yeah, like if the spouse is still there or the spouse is not there, that's a weird lunch, you know?
That's very strange.
Yeah, and so altered liver function, multiple organ failure due to the mushroom poisoning. So they accuse her of lying about the cancer diagnosis as a pretense for the lunch, then deliberately poisoning her guests. And so then it's like such a big deal that like it's caught so much media attention that they actually had to sequester the jury so that there wouldn't be like influence, because this is such a viral story.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Isn't it bizarre though? Like,
it's so heartbreaking.
So she foraged the mushrooms herself. Like she went out and got them in nature. So that makes it a little bit more like, okay,
that's premeditated.
Yeah, and that's the question is like, okay, I know people who do like mushroom stuff.
Yeah, foraging and stuff.
They go get they do it a lot. Like you can get a lot of mushrooms in nature, and there are some that poisonous. I couldn't tell you the difference, you know. But I guess I wouldn't serve it to people. So I don't know. So she's pleaded not guilty. She has 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder.
Oh, because for the person
who didn't die.
Yeah.
Her legal team says she ate some of the meal herself, and she did genuinely get sick, just not as severely as others.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, that's what you're feeling.
Unless she knew there was a section of it that didn't have the same stuff in it, and she was like, I'm just going to eat this piece from over here.
That's a little sketchy, right? The fact that she didn't get as sick. It's like, the defense case is that what happened was a tragedy and a terrible accident. So that's her defense. Is she's like, I didn't mean to.
I'm sorry, that's way too coincidental. For you to have people over and for 3 of them to get so sick they died and 1 of them to get sick but recovered, that's not an accident.
One of the things about it is so weird that like I don't see a motive. What do you gain from murdering your in-laws? Like, I understand you're estranged from your husband, but it's like, why would you? What gain? You know, like, you don't inherit anything.
That is bizarre.
You know, it's like,
unless you just have this morbid, like,
I'm mad at you, so I'm gonna.
Or it was like, I'm on good terms with my husband, but his family was always horrible to me, so I'm gonna, make him pay. And it's like, that's just awful. I get it.
So some people argue. So the prosecution's like, she faked being sick when these people died. She wasn't really sick. And then the defense was like, if you cooked a meal and accidentally killed people, what would you do? And the defense was basically like, yeah, she hid. She was terrified. She felt awful about what happened. And I was
or maybe she actually did accidentally gather the wrong mushrooms.
Right. And then it's like, oh man. And so it's like,
that sucks either way.
Oh, and I just can't fathom that. Like, wrapping my head around, oops, I accidentally poisoned people. If it was premeditated, like if this was a plan, it's not a good plan.
Oh my gosh,
it's
that's
a terrible
awful.
plan. Of course, everyone's gonna accuse you. Even like, you're clearly at fault.
Yeah.
You know, like, even if you weren't intentionally, you definitely. What's that called? Like manslaughter, when you accidentally kill someone.
Yeah, I
like
think
with your
so.
car, and it's like, I didn't mean to kill him.
It's not murder if it wasn't. Yeah.
Right, but even then, you're gonna get charged.
Yeah,
like,
it's still awful.
This isn't a sneaky thing. Everyone.
Oh, that's so awful.
It's weird.
that story just.
Yeah, right. It's so crazy. I saw it. I read it like when it
never
first
heard that
happened
story.
back in May. It really is like a viral story. It's crazy. But then I kept chewing on it. Like, I don't know if she did it. Like, it could be just a tragic accident, which is awful. Like, that's really rough. But then, of course, I also feel bad if your husband's estranged. So it sounds like you're not living together. He's out of the house. You're trying to go through some kind of medical diagnosis. Maybe that's fake or not.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it kind of broadcasts your private business all over the world.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a little messy.
I know people who have separated, and sometimes that leads to divorce. Sometimes they reconcile. But I wouldn't want everyone knowing that there's a separation. You know what I mean? Like, that's just an embarrassing thing to suddenly have
smeared all over the
your
world.
Whole interpersonal relationship dynamic. I read one article about the same thing that had said it suggested a possible motive was that she had been on a weight loss journey and was struggling with it, and they had made fun of her weight or something.
Whew, that's one of those things where it's like, okay, but there are levels, and you can get mad at someone, but killing them is probably not the answer.
Well, and I think that's probably the prosecution's weakest point, is they don't have a clear motive. Why would she do this? Like, maybe making fun of her weight, maybe, just agreeing with them, but it's like, what's the gain? What does she gain by having these people be dead? Yeah. And there's so much risk of,
that's awful.
And so it's like,
that's awful.
And if they if they accept an invitation to a meal, you must not hate each other, right? Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Like if
there had to have been some, at least, like, cordiality to be able to be like,
right.
Oh, she invited us over to dinner. Let's all go. And then to still go, even though the ex-husband's like, oh, I can't make it.
And they still
That's
hang
not
out.
enough of a red flag. Like,
that tells me, like, maybe this was a kind of an accident or something. And if it is, that's a horrifying, like, I feel really bad for this lady. All right, well, for real, let's go to Sponsor of My Life. Mm-hmm. So, for longtime listeners, because I know so many people were just dying for us to come back to the podcast. But if you have never heard us or don't know what this is all about, our podcast is this tiny little thing that we love to do. We don't actually get paid sponsorship, but we have so many awesome things in our life that we want to promote and pump up. Sometimes it's a product, sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's just a wonderful thing in our life. But this is what Sponsor of Our Life is. And honestly, I love doing this. It's probably my favorite part of the show. So, what's sponsoring your life today?
Definitely my brother-in-law, Tom.
Yeah.
He's a very kind and helpful person, and he just found a free trampoline for our children. So now that we have our yard fenced in. Oh, yeah. So caveat, we have this house, right? We've lived here since April of 2024.
Little over a year. Yep.
And we had a lot of things that we needed to work on in the house. We still have a lot of things to work on, but little by little, we're kind of chipping away at it as, opportunity comes. And so inside was last year. We kind of did some of the things that were necessary, like pipes and everything. Yeah. And this year we decided the fence was going to be the priority for the summer. So we finished the fence last week. Is there a
It was
bug in
awesome.
here?
There was a mosquito like flying around my head. Sorry.
Okay.
Keep slapping
You're
myself.
slapping yourself in the head. I was like, is this what is happening?
Sorry.
So we finished the fence, and now we're like, look at this space. Now we kind of have an idea of where we could put a trampoline, because the kids are very clearly too big for the bounce house that we have that your brother gave them like
Which was
4
awesome
years
for
ago.
years. Yep, they love that.
They did. So now we have outgrown the bounce house that is way too small for 5 children.
It's time.
And so I've kind of been looking on Facebook Marketplace, but Tom was finding some things. I don't know what his skill. He could post that as a skill in Facebook Marketplace, because I'm like, where are you seeing these? I never see these.
Free stuff.
Although I don't have a Facebook, so that's probably shoot me in the foot there. But he found us a trampoline, so he's got a trampoline at their house for us that is disassembled, and we can get it. So I'm super excited because the kids will be so jazzed about that. Yeah, so that's Sponsor My Life, because I think that'll be so nice to be able to be like, hey, you guys are going crazy. Just go wrestle out on the trampoline.
Outside.
So that'll be great. But yeah.
Yes, thank you, Tom. We love you.
Yes. He never listened to this in a million years, but we are sending that out.
Just putting it out in the universe.
How about you? What's sponsoring your life?
Honestly, I'm going to cycle back to what I said at the top, which was the front porch.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting on we have 2 rocking chairs, and now that we have the fence...
Is this a country song, sitting on a front porch, rocking in my chair?
I want to sit on a front porch, rocking in my chair.
We live so far away from the country. Like,
it's so funny, because we live downtown Grand Rapids, and we're like this little homestead, isolated...
We're not even a homestead. We just have chickens, which everyone's like, are those chickens?
Oh, my gosh. Well, we have a fenced-in yard, we have a garden, we have chicken. Like, we just have this little... thing that doesn't necessarily fit the city vibe, but I love it. And like, you get into the evenings, and we've done it a lot lately. It's just been, we've had some warm summer nights, and you get a nice cool drink, and you sit in your rocking chair. Mm-hmm. We've just chatted for like hours, and
it's been nice.
I love doing that. That is so much fun. Like,
now that we have the space like set up comfortably, like last summer we didn't have outdoor outlets, right? So we couldn't plug in our string lights. Yep. And I was like, man, I'd love to sit on the porch with some string lights, just kind of get it upgraded. And it's great because now we have like the outdoor spigot, so we got like the hanging baskets out there. We've got like the string lights, and it's so comfortable.
The fruit of our labors.
It is. It's been really nice. So now that we've made those upgrades, it's improved the porch, and now it's just on to all the other things that I want to do the porch, like paint and redo the concrete paint or put an outdoor rug. It's just there's so many things, but it's nice. Like
the yard, and
we do. It's always there's always more to do, right? But it is really nice to sit out there and just kind of sit in the rocking chairs and enjoy, Well,
and today was such a scorching hot day, but the kids wanted to be outside, and we filled up the little turtle pool thing, and they were playing in that and splashing around in their swimsuits, and I was like, I'm just going to sit in the shade in my rocking chair with my book. It was like the perfect Sunday afternoon.
It really was. Like, we spent most of the day outside. The kids did too. Like, I mean, it's hot, but I mean, they're doing stuff, we're doing stuff. It's nice to just kind of sit and rock, and it's comfortable.
And so that is just my rocking chair and my front porch are sponsoring my life today. All right, so let's dive into we're doing a topic today. We'll play a game next week, but I do have a random extra story, and I'll share it with you just because it's really, really weird. So there's a bank in China that they were banned from luring depositors with a popular Labubu doll.
What's a Labubu doll?
It's the creepiest thing ever. You got to come over here and look at this. Like, this is the doll. It's like, I don't know, what would you describe that? Yeah, it's like a toothy smile on it's got maybe a bunny. It's got ears kind of like that, but it's like looks angry, like kind of a psycho Chucky doll kind of thing with pointy teeth. But anyways, it's a
psycho Chucky doll with pointy teeth
wearing
a bunny costume.
It's super weird, but this little doll is so popular that banks have been offering, we'll give you one of these dolls if you join our bank. Like, if you put in money into our bank and open up an account. And it's
so kind of like the equivalent of Furbies in the early 2000s. Hey, we'll give you a Furby.
It looks like
so creepy.
And it's like, we'll give you a Furby. And people are doing it. And so the bank has been banned from offering plushies, which is so... But first off, let's just talk about the ridiculous oppressive Chinese government that comes in and tells you can't do stuff. Like, that's the silly part. But I can't believe this is working. Like, what adult is like, hey, you're offering a doll or a plushie?
I can't imagine.
Let me open up a bank account.
So I can't think of an incentive I would want less. But also, like, it just kind of reminds me of, like, Spider-Man, where she's like, you promised me a free toaster if I open an account. I don't know why I'm getting that
that's
vibe.
only for accounts over $50 or whatever it is.
I don't know. It's so bizarre that I'm like, I don't want that. That's just
I've
weird.
seen...
It's so gimmicky.
It is, and I can't believe it worked, and not just worked, but worked so much.
I don't want that creepy doll.
No,
like, what is it going to
not.
sit on my dresser and like?
Apparently, it's from K-pop group Blackpink, and so you have to put in like almost $7,000. If you put in $7,000, you get this doll.
You know what I want instead? Just give me like free airline tickets or like some sort of incentive.
Well,
I
some
don't
banks
want
will offer you cash.
something that's useful to me.
Yeah.
I don't want some doll sitting gathering dust that although maybe the idea is like I could sell it for a lot of money and then
Yes, it's been endorsed by a very popular band.
Bang.
Well, and I do feel bad.
That's
I'm
weird.
super unplugged from that world, so I know nothing about K-pop artist Lisa from K-pop group Blackpink. It's like none of those words mean anything to me.
I know. I feel bad. I had a lot of students that were super into K-pop when I was,
Yeah, so that was not the story
instructor.
that we're going to talk about, but I was like, that's my
bizarre.
extra, my bonus story. I was like,
I'm going to have nightmares about that doll tonight,
yes,
probably.
it is bizarre. All right, so what I wanted to talk about is a New York Times article that says, is it okay for your kids to, quote unquote, rot all summer? Some parents are choosing to forego high-intensity camps and activities for their children in favor of weeks of unplanned times, calling it kid rotting. And so I sent you this article a couple hours ago. Did you get a chance to kind of get a peek at it?
I was able to browse over it, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, and so my first thing, I have so many thoughts. So
many thoughts.
So the question is, the comparison, they kind of have two extremes. The one is letting your kid melt on the couch in front of a screen, and then on the other...
I hate that those are the two options.
Exactly. This is my biggest complaint, because the other side is you got to send them to camp or highly scheduled activities.
Right.
But then they talk about the exorbitant prices of those camps.
Yes.
And so I can kind of have some grace for them, because they couch it in terms of like parents who work and they need childcare. Yes. And it's like summer, they don't have childcare, so they send them to camp, or
as if this is the only alternative.
It's like, these are your choices. You give them a tablet, or you let them go to all these camps.
Right.
And I mean, if you do a camp every week, and some of these camps are $200, $400. The one
an
that's
investment.
$1,200 a week for 7 weeks. I mean, you're talking $10,000 a summer for these kids. And then if you have multiple kids, I mean, you're talking $30,000 if you put all your kids in the different camps. And so, I get it. Like, I get that that's crazy expensive. And so people are like, well, maybe I'll just let my kid have a screen. And so talk to me about how you don't like that those are just two options.
Oh, sorry. It won't let me do this now. It's making me continue with card or PayPal.
Yeah, that's
it won't let me read the article
too.
again. I tried again and it's not letting me. So,
yep.
You said what it was. You said give me your thoughts.
I said
on
give
this.
me your thoughts on why it's frustrating that those are the two options.
It's frustrating because like we're just kind of assuming that those are the only two options available. It's like either you're obsessed with, the TV and the screen and you have to do that, or, you don't care about, like, that's like saying you don't care about your kid if you don't let them, involve them in all the things. It's like the alternative is, it's like saying like, okay, well, you don't have your kids involved in all these sports, you must not care about their athletic ability and their future and put sports. And
But
it's like,
don't you
no,
care about
I just want my
getting
kids to
them
have
ahead?
other options. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people who are like, oh, it's almost like this pride and like, well, I'm so busy because my kids are in 3 baseball teams and all this stuff and I have no free time, because it's like, but did your kid actually want to be in all those baseball teams? They probably would have been happy with just the one baseball team.
Yep.
Or maybe they just want to be a kid and just play baseball for fun.
Yep.
Maybe you're, pushing them to do 3 teams is not their actual goal. Because like I think about our kids and I think about their involvement with, soccer or whatever. And it's like they like to play soccer because they just want to play and have fun. They enjoy the sport. They enjoy, and they're not necessarily going to be professional athletes. They just want to have fun. Yep. And if I was like, hey, there's this free camp this summer, would you rather do that? They'd love that.
Yeah.
But that's not like the only alternative is either be diehard sports or, oh, you have no athletic ability, you're terrible, you don't get any options. It's like, why are these the two juxtapositions?
Yep.
What happened to just letting kids have you heard, sorry, that's just triggered my memory. Have you heard this super viral thing right now? I'm letting my kids have a 90s summer. Have you heard this?
No. Tell me about this.
All over the place. And I've seen so many sides of the coin. So basically, like, people are saying, you know what, give us our 90s kids summer with, you know, like this. Most 90s kids, we're playing outside, we're doing all the things, we're eating popsicles, we're not watching screens, we're not sitting inside. Our parents didn't sign us up for every single camp. Camps. It's just 90s summer. Yep. And it's been super, like, unplugged summer. And I love that because I'm like, you know, that was my childhood. Like, in the 90s, I was playing outside. I was hanging out with friends. We never watched TV. If it was a rainy day, we were inside playing Legos, or we were playing with our toys, or we were doing puzzles. And it was like, now granted, my mom did not work full time. So it was like, there were some days a week where she would kind of help out at the floral shop where my grandma worked. For sure. And so we'd have someone come over and watch us, but we had the flexibility to stay home. It wasn't like they had to find childcare. Sure. Now, your parents worked full time.
Both of them.
So you have a different so you have a different perspective.
We had a teenage kid who would come and hang out with us.
Right. But I mean, they weren't signing you up for all the camps during the summer, right? Maybe you had like something that you did every year, like maybe a vacation Bible school, which is like a free thing. Yeah. Or you did like a sports activity, or maybe there's something sponsored by your school or something. But we always had 2 trips.
And we did camp when I was in elementary school. But 1 week camp, and then when I got a little older, we did 1 week of camp and a mission trip.
Okay.
We almost always did a mission trip with our church.
Right.
There were 2 weeks out of the summer, and then usually there was a vacation. Yeah. But every other week, other than those 2-3 weeks.
And it's funny because as a kid, for us, because we were homeschooled, we could take vacations whenever we wanted. Yeah, so it wasn't like summer was like the time we were waiting to have vacations.
Gotta do it.
And we live in Michigan, and we live near the beach, so it was like, every day is a vacation. Like, honestly, like, there was no pressure to, like, we got to take a summer vacation. We maybe sometimes when we had a camper, we would take, like, a trip up to Ludington or something and go camping, or we'd go to Holland State Park. Yep. But there was no, like, pressure to, like, we have to go on a big summer vacation because my mom did not work full time and my dad did, but we had weekends. Like, we had time together. And I remember, like, we just hung out all summer. Like, there was no pressure. There was no, gotta sign up. My mom did not sign us up for any camps. Like, we did vacation Bible school. Yep. She was always the craft coordinator. Yep, like, that was always what we did every single year. That's cool. My mom was always the craft coordinator. So I helped. But, like, that was really the only, like, structured, scheduled thing. Yeah. And then when I got to high school, I was a babysitter. So it was like, I'm not rotting. I'm being responsible, and I'm babysitting from the time that I was like 12 until I graduated from high school. I babysat all summer long.
And that really is sort of the dynamic of where I kind of had some, like, at first I was just super annoyed. I was like, ugh, you don't have to schedule all your kids. But then I had a little bit of grace in my heart for
people that don't have that option.
Yeah, like we are incredibly privileged.
Oh, absolutely.
To
I fully agree.
Be home with the kids is such a gift, and I love that.
It's a gift, but let's be honest. Yes, it's a huge sacrifice because we do not make enough money, I think, to warrant that. So when people are like, oh, you're so lucky, and I'm like, yes, but you realize how much we pay in order to sacrifice the income, because it truly is an income sacrifice. Like, I could be working and making a lot of money, but that would all go to childcare costs. So it's like, it is still even though we are blessed, it is still a huge sacrifice. It's really not necessarily like, oh, look at us, we're at the top. Like, no. Come over to our house, eat a meal with us, you'll see.
Yes. Well, and that's a choice
on our crusty old kitchen table.
But I remember at the end of the article, there was a lady, and it was like, they spend, like, I think it was like, we budgeted like $14,000 for our summer.
Crazy.
And that gets us to the end of July, and then we have to take all of our vacation time just to be home with the kids, so that, because we have to have childcare for the kids because both of us work, and so I have to use up all my vacation in August to get them to the end of summer when they get back to school, and it was like, my heart really went out to that situation.
That's got to be stressful. And I think there are people that I have followed on Instagram over the years that I kind of, it was from a totally different perspective, just like that, where I hadn't really ever thought about that before. It was like this woman who I follow. She's a child dietitian. So she's like, I make dietary guidelines for kids, and I work with kids who have feeding issues and stuff. But she's like, I have 2 kids, and she's like, summer stresses me out because she's like, I work full time, but I'm also self-employed. Yeah. So she's like, I can't just have my kids home all the time because I can't get anything done. Right. My husband owns his own business. He works full time. So she's like, summer is stressful because I have to find things for my kids to do. Different. And so she's like, it's, they go from school and then it's like, now I have 3 months of summer. What do I do? And it's stressful for me because I feel like, same thing, I have to fill that time with camps or things for them to do because I don't have the option of just hanging out with them. Yep. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, that's so crazy. Just stay home. But if you're working and you're actually working, like I know how hard it is to try to work from home while you have kids. That's like so hard. I was teaching in the wee hours before they woke up. Yep. And it's hard. Like, it really is. I remember thinking, I have to do all my work between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. That's the only time that works. And then I take over as, parenting all throughout the day because those are my flexible hours. But, like, I can imagine it's very hard and stressful. If you don't have family close by, you don't have the option of childcare, what do you do? And so camps are, I guess, the only option, but that's expensive.
It is. And so I was initially annoyed by the letting your kid rot. I don't like the term kid rot.
I hate that too.
I love I'm letting my kids have a 90s summer. I like that term a lot. That's really fun.
I think it's fun.
Well, and I really think part of my itch on that was that kid rot assumes screens, and we're really kind of anti-screens. We let our kids watch movies, but it's like a family activity.
I think anti-screens is not the best
right way
term.
To say it.
Like, if you've read The Anxious Generation or any of those, any of those his stuff, it's like their discernment. Was that the big tag word when we were at Calvin? Was like things in moderation. Always use discernment. Like have a discerning mind, have a discerning heart. And it's like, it's not that the screen itself is bad, but you have to be able to discern. Like we have to help our kids understand. Like we can't just do this as much as we want. We have to use our discretion. We have to use discernment with it. And so, I agree.
Think in the last maybe 2-3 years, our children have flourished without screens.
Less screens.
By stripping that down to bare minimum.
Significantly.
They get it, like,
well, and especially this summer, like, we have done movie night maybe once a month.
Maybe? Yeah.
I think our kids turn on the TV. Like, we watch TV with the kids as a family movie night, like, maybe once a month now.
Barely, yeah. Because
I never watch shows.
It's always an option on Friday and Saturday, but we'll say, like, do you want to do a bonfire? And they're like, yeah, let's do that instead.
Well, they would rather play outside. And it's interesting because I often find, like, their behavior and the way they respond when we do a show and then we immediately go to bed or we immediately change. It's like, it's almost not worth it because the behavior and the response is, like, so difficult.
Yeah,
so it's like, that shift is like, I'm not sad that we don't do screens because it's like you can see that tension of maybe that wasn't such a good idea because we're just overstimulated.
Well, and it really highlights what I wanted to get at, which was the unstructured time is not the same thing as rot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is rot if you give your kid a tablet and let them just kind of melt in front of the TV or play video games all day. And again, I play video games. I think they're fun, but it's like, the difference is, forcing your kid to go outside. And, like, I think it's great to give a kid unstructured time. They're going to be bored. They're going to hate it at first.
The difference is intentionality.
And then, they really get into it. And now our children they play outside all the time, every day, all day. And I think that's so good for them. I love that 90s summer vibe.
I remember when we first had kids, and I remember, people always talking about, like, well, I hope your kids have good imaginations. I hope your kids are able to, like, self-entertain. And I realized, like, that's largely instructed by you as the parent.
You teach it,
like, that is, are you able, as an adult, to sit and be bored and figure out what to do with your time? Yep. Or do you always need constant stimulation? Yeah. And I realize, like, if I'm always forcing my kids to have some sort of entertainment, I'm going to breed a child that doesn't know how to be bored, that needs to have a screen or something entertaining them. And that's going to inhibit them and their growth.
Was in the article. They talked about that boredom piece, and it was like, it's good.
Boredom is so healthy.
It's so good for you and your development. And so by the end of the article, I had a little bit more heart, because initially I was super annoyed. But then it's like, okay, I see where you're coming from, especially for those
see the other side of the coin.
Who have a limited situation and trying to figure out childcare for your kids in the summer. totally get it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that fits and that makes sense. And but I didn't like the way they set it up as if Kid Rot was the only alternative to the camps. And they did.
Well, and I hate that idea because it's almost as if you're depriving your child of important things by not having that. Like, as someone, from my perspective, now I do have the option to stay home with my kids, but I also don't have the financial ability to pour all that into it. So what am I depriving my child of all the opportunities and letting them just rot because I'm not paying $14,000 for them to go to camps? Like, I could have had Liam go to the Grand Rapids Public Museum day camps. Or I could have had Amos do,
cool.
John Ball Zoo day camps and all this stuff. But it's hundreds of dollars. And that's it's not financially feasible for us when we have 4 children.
It's what, to
do that with.
$200-$300 a kid times 4 kids, because Maggie's probably not old enough to do it.
No, she's not.
$800 a week.
That's more than we can afford.
Yeah,
it's not in the budget. It's just not there.
And I grew up, like I said, we used to go to one camp, and now back then it was, I want to say $150, $200 per kid for a week. And now I think it's averages like $400, $420 for a kid. And that's crazy money, especially if you're sending, like, I
multiples.
Think we sent kids to NTS camp. That's our church's camp. Mm-hmm. We sent 9 kids, but some of the families sent 2. Yeah, and it's like that's not. It's like you can kind of rationalize it. Okay, it's 1 kid for 1 week. It's a powerful, life-changing experience. Oh yeah, they have an amazing time. It's huge. I'm a big advocate of that camp. But
it's a financial commitment.
It's a lot, and when you're sending 2 or 3, like I think. Our church has a lot of families that have a lot of kids, and if they end up sending multiple kids, that's gonna be hard. And so, I mean, we offer scholarships and whatnot, but it's like, so it's a crazy expense. But I enjoyed the article. It got me thinking about how we do summer. I really love the 90s summer vibe. It's what we're working with for our kids. Yeah, part of that is
what we have been out of necessity.
But part of it is intentional. This is how I want my kids to enjoy summer, and we're blessed enough to be able to make that sacrifice and to go through that tightening the belts and making it work. And I think our children will benefit. And I don't think it's that they're missing out. Yeah, sure, they get a lot from going to all those camps. But they also get a lot having that unstructured time where they have to use their imaginations. And I think that's really powerful and wonderful too. So I thought it was worth chatting about. It's interesting. I'd never heard the phrase Kid Rot.
I hope I never hear it again.
Yeah, you won't, because I'm all done. All right, so normally, if longtime listeners would know, we usually send us out with a mom joke of the week, and the reason we do that is because in our house, you are the source of the painful, punny dad joke type thing. I am guilty. So my goal is what I thought we would do for our first time back is I looked up a bunch of dad jokes, and I'm just going to read them until I get a good laugh.
Oh, okay, good.
So so here's the dad joke of the week. After an unsuccessful harvest, why did the farmer decide to try a career in music?
I have no idea.
Because he had a ton of sick beats.
Oh, that's bad.
I only seem to get sick on weekdays. I must have weekend immune system.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
My friend was showing me his tool shed, and he pointed to the ladder and said, "That's my step ladder." I never knew my real ladder.
Oh my gosh, these are terrible. Oh my gosh.
Why is it so cheap to throw a party at a haunted house?
I don't know.
Because the ghosts bring all the booze.
My gosh. Okay, that's pretty good. That's terrible.
I don't get why Marvel doesn't use Hulk to advertise more. He's basically one big banner.
Oh, that's grown worthy. That's not even funny.
I just... What?
Your reaction. I
laughed. I didn't understand the joke at first.
Do you need me to explain it to you?
I just found out I'm colorblind. The news came out of the purple. It took me a second to get it. I was like, wait, what? The news came out of the
This is the real reason I have to explain the dad jokes, which is why they're just not as funny for you.
I love it. Hey, it's been fun to do this. It's good to be back.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.